Hello, friends. Welcome back to Heartscapes, and thank you for joining me for day 7 of our 21-day Reiki practice journey to the spring equinox. I'm posting this video a little bit late today, but I definitely wanted to get it in under the sunset wire. It's just been one of those days, but I'm glad to be able to end my day with a little bit of practice with you. Today I wanted to share something that is indeed poetic, but is also structured a little bit more like a story. It's a short story that is found in this book, The Art of Holding Space by Heather Plett. And if you've done any circles with me or classes, you may have heard me reference this book. I use it a lot. It has become a really valuable point of reference for me in this work. And in particular, in the way that it works with the concept of liminal space. And this story, this poem story that we're going to work with tonight as we do our practice together, is one that just does a really lovely job illustrating this concept of liminal space in a metaphoric way. Liminal space is a concept, is a phrase that is used to refer to the time, the space, in a transition or a change in our life when we are no longer what we used to be. We've transitioned out of a particular identity or role or belief system or cultural marker, but we're not yet what we will become. We have not yet settled into the place where we will eventually land. And liminal space is this time in between. It's this threshold when we're no longer what we were, but we're not yet what we will be. It's a space that can be extremely difficult to be in, and yet one that is essential for truly, in a holistic and healthy way, moving through a change or a transition. And this can be any change. It can be a lifestyle change, like when a person retires or changes jobs, or their kids move out of the house for the first time, or they start a new relationship or end one. It can be a change in belief system, like when a particular set of beliefs has been challenged in a way that causes us to need to change them and look at the world differently. It can be a change in our heart and our sense of our self. So there's a lot of different ways in which we change throughout our life. And in all change, there is this aspect of liminal space, this time in between, which can be a very short period of time. It can be a longer period of time. But it is often a very challenging period of time because we've lost a sense of ourself. We've lost a sense of our identity, and we haven't yet rooted into the new sense of ourself that will come from the other side of the change. It's essential that we honor this time and that we give ourselves space and seek good support in this space. And yet, this is not something that our culture does very well. We tend to be, in our modern world, in our Western culture, we tend to focus on getting to the destination, getting to the kitty cat jumping on the table, getting to the other side of the journey as fast as possible, right? We often want to skip over that in-between uncertain, chaotic time and just get to the other side as quickly as possible. We're very product-focused culture rather than process-focused. So we often don't have good skills around holding liminal space. And so it's really amazing and important and lovely that there are people who have developed those skills and can teach us. And Heather Plett is one of those people. I consider her a teacher and somebody whose work has helped me personally and has helped me hold space for other people. And so I wanted, in the context of this journey that we're on together to the spring equinox, this time of transition, right? This period of time right here, these 2 weeks before we officially enter spring, is almost the liminal space of this seasonal change. In my region in Central California, we already feel like we're tipping into spring, and yet there's still this feeling of winter. It's very cold today. There's still many markers of winter out in the landscape, and yet spring is also calling us. So we're in this liminal space in the season right now. So I thought it would be a really lovely time to just have a little bit of an engagement with this metaphoric description of liminal space. Okay, I think I've said enough about it. It's time for us to practice. So as before, we're going to settle ourselves into the Joshin Kokyoho meditation practice that comes from the origins of Reiki, the Japanese origins of Reiki, a method to focus the mind. Because we're working with a story that's a little bit longer than the poems I've been reading, I'm just going to read it through one time. We're going to take our time working through this story and just spend a little bit of time with it while we're in our meditation. And so I invite you, as I read through it, to notice what stands out for you, to notice if there's particular words or phrases or images that jump out for you, and share those if you would like. Let us know what jumped out to you, what had meaning for you today. All right. So as always, we're going to settle ourselves into the 3 postures for practice. The postures of our body, of our breath, and of our mind. So noticing if your body needs any movement, any adjustment to help you feel settled, supported, and relaxed. Just invite you to make any micro adjustments that you need so that you can feel held firmly by the support below you, by the structure of your body, that you can feel upright while also feeling relaxed. You're not efforting to hold yourself upright. So that the muscles of the belly and of the chest and of the jaw and the neck and the shoulders can be soft, can be relaxed. Let's just take a couple of breaths, finding that sweet balancing point where we feel strong and supported and upright, and at the same time, the muscles of our belly can be soft. And bringing your attention to the movement of your breath, bringing our breath into posture for practice. Allowing the breath to move evenly in and out of the body. Allowing the softness of our belly to draw the breath in and down and low in the body. Without efforting or straining, just inviting. Inviting our breath to move in and down all the way into our low belly. And it can be helpful to place a hand on the low belly, just below the belly button, to help us draw our attention, help us draw the breath, allowing the belly to fill with the inhale, expand and take up space, and then gently contract with the exhale. And bringing our mind into a posture for practice. Allowing your attention to follow the sensation of the breath in and down. Focusing your attention, focusing your mind in the low belly. Drawing your attention back in from the distractions of the day. Letting the gentle movement of the breath and the softness of the belly draw your attention in and down. And rest your attention in the center point, a few inches below the belly button and deep into the center of the body. The hara, the energy center in the low belly. Just practice resting our attention here. And as we do, I invite you to sense or imagine that here in the center of the low belly, the center of the hara, you find a spark of light, a pinprick of light shining here at your center at all times. The great bright light of your true self in all of its wholeness, here at the center of your body, all the time. And as you draw your attention to this spark, following the breath in and down, sense or imagine it growing brighter, expanding in all directions, filling you and then surrounding you in a sphere of your own great bright light. Expanding the sense of yourself outward with each breath. And continue to breathe in this way, drawing your attention in and down on the inhale, connecting with this spark of light at your center. And as you exhale, imagining it grow brighter and expanding and filling you and surrounding you. And continue breathing in this way as I share this poem story with you. Allowing the words to follow your attention in and down, coming into your center, and noticing what meaning they have for you today. Let Go of the Ground by Heather Plett. How do you get to be so free? Caterpillar asks wistfully of Butterfly. Surrender, Butterfly whispers as she flutters by. But I've read all the books, taken all the classes, and I just can't seem to get off the ground. Surrender. What do you mean surrender? Surrender to what? To the mystery, to your creator, to your own DNA. How do I do that? Caterpillar frowns. Climb up in that tree, let go of the branch, and spin. Spin? Yes, spin. But I don't know how to spin. Do I need to take a course? Is there a manual? You'll know. Once you're up there in that branch. I'll know, but how will I know? It's written in your DNA. Well, what happens next? Do I have to spin my own wings? No, silly, Butterfly giggles. You spin a cocoon. A cocoon? I've never heard of that before. What do I do with it once I have spun it? You don't do anything. You just wait inside the cocoon. What good does waiting do? I have too much work to do to sit around waiting in a cocoon. I have housework to do and children to feed, and, well, this is just ridiculous. Caterpillar turns away, her eyes back on the ground. Well, then, you'd better give up your dream of flying, because that's the only way you'll get up here. Butterfly's wings carry her a little higher. Caterpillar glances back at the sky, her eyes fill with tears. But I really want to fly. Can you tell me a little more, please? What comes next? The hard part, the surrender. So we're back to surrender again. That doesn't seem very helpful. And it's kind of confusing. What am I surrendering? Everything you ever knew. Every cell of your body, every story you've ever told yourself. I have to give up everything? Isn't that asking a bit much? Yes, but it is worth it. Does it hurt? Oh yes, it hurts. How do you handle the pain? You won't like the answer. Tell me anyway. Surrender and trust. You have to surrender to the pain and trust the process. You have to give up control and let your body turn to an ugly, gooey, mushy substance while you wait for transformation to happen. Your friends, those who haven't learned to spin yet, will turn away because they won't recognize you. It will be the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. I don't know if I can do it. I can't handle that much pain. You can. But do you want to taste the sky? Oh, yes, I really, really do. Then you'll have to let go of the ground. And breathing in whatever part of that was for you today. Continuing to breathe in and down, resting your attention in your low belly. Let's take 5 more breaths together in this way. And then gently bringing your attention back to the spaces around you. And when you feel ready, giving yourself a gesture of completion. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that whimsical little story, that metaphoric description of liminal space. I'll share what stood out to me even as I was reading it again. This imagery of the breaking down of the caterpillar into a pile of goo inside of the cocoon, which is biologically what happens. The body of the caterpillar melts down into its imaginal cells and reforms itself into the butterfly. And it's such a powerful and almost a little bit scary, a little bit gross description of that liminal space, that in between space of thresholds. And I was actually just talking about that with a friend in relation to another biological process, that of puberty, of what happens inside of our brains during that period of time, that liminal space of puberty, when we're no longer a child, but we're not yet an adult. That can be such a challenging, but also incredibly powerful and potent time. And a similar thing happens in our brain. There's parts of our brain, connections in parts of our brain that are melting down, that are disconnecting from each other and rewiring, making new connections, letting go of parts of the brain that are no longer needed because they've already done their job, and they're melting back down and reforming into the parts that are going to be needed for the next period of time. And I'm not explaining that very scientifically, but there's this very similar thing that happens like in our literal brain when we're moving through the liminal space of puberty. And I was just talking about that with a friend. We both have 11 and 12-year-old kids who are entering into that. So that imagery really stood out to me, and it brought forward a really powerful sense of compassion for all of us, right? Because any of us who are older than age 13 have gone through something like that biologically. And many of us have gone through something like that emotionally, maybe perhaps many times in our lives. That sensation of things dissolving, right? Things that used to feel very solid, dissolving and melting away. And there's that period of time where you're not sure if something new or better or stronger or even, good enough is going to form in its place. So I'm just feeling this really deep compassion for each of us, for each of those moments that we have lived our lives in liminal space. And particularly for those of us who have felt alone in that, who have not been held well by the people in our life, who have been confused, perhaps left on our own to deal with that chaotic space. I know I have been in that experience, and I have also been in experiences of liminal space where I was very well supported and very well held. And that's what I wish for each of us, that we develop first and foremost the capacity inside of ourself, the resilience and strength inside of ourself to hold our own self inside of those liminal moments in our life. And then from that place of strength, seeking out others, good community, good people who can hold us well inside of those spaces of transition. Sometimes we won't have those other people. Sometimes they just won't be available to us. And so we have to be our own cocoon in that time. The beautiful thing is we have the capacity to do that. We are amazing creatures, almost as amazing as butterflies. And so, my friends, as you go into this evening, in whatever transition you may be in the midst of right now, in whatever journey you might be stepping through right now, may you be deeply provisioned from the depth of your own heart and from the community around you. Thank you for joining me tonight for these couple steps on this 21-day journey. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow when we'll walk through day 8. And until then, I love you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.